Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second to last Innovate State of the fall semester here at Michigan State University. My name is Chris Sell. I'm the Director of Alumni and Entrepreneur Engagement here at MSU, and I'm thrilled to welcome all of you here this evening in the Minskoff Pavilion, the heart of MSU's campus, and also want to acknowledge all of our viewers watching the live stream right now all across the globe. And in case you have a friend, colleague, family member that wants to watch this presentation later on, just know that we will archive the content from tonight's presentation at our site, eship.msu.edu, so you'll be able to watch it there indefinitely after next week. For those of you who are students at Michigan State and you are, well, let me just ask, how many of you, this is your first Innovate State? All right, cool. Welcome for the newbies, and thanks to the returning veterans. Appreciate it. Just a few announcements tonight before we get to our esteemed guests here this evening. We have one more Innovate State yet this fall semester taking place on Wednesday, November 30th, 15 days from today, in the same room, and it's featuring Andrew Blake. Who has had Blake's Hard Cider before? Excellent. Well, just know that that is a Spartan-owned venture. So Blake's Farm's an original family farm built by Andrew's dad and uncle, amongst others. Andrew is an MSU graduate from Michigan State who started Blake's Hard Cider. It is now, I think, on its way or already the fastest growing hard cider company from a distribution perspective in the United States. We are so thrilled to have Andrew here in a few weeks. Dynamic entrepreneur, really excited about sharing his story, not just from a company standpoint, but from a student perspective as well. In addition to that, just know that the Burgess Institute, which runs MSU's entrepreneurship program, runs programming throughout the year. Who has been to a 2-day venture event before in this room? Oh man, love it. Super cool. So if you have, thank you. I hope you had a great experience. If you haven't and you're looking to get a high-impact experiential experience at Michigan State, as one colleague puts it, it's like pickup basketball for entrepreneurs, where you form teams on a Friday, and by Saturday night, you're pitching to a panel of judges for prize money. Those events happen twice each semester. So we just hosted one in the last week or two. We've got 2 more in the spring semester, both in February and then March 31st to April 1st. Yeah, I got the dates right. Excellent. So they're free to attend. We feed you food. It takes place here in the lower level of the pavilion. Super fun. If you were one of those that raise your hands because you've been to a 2-day venture already, let others know about your experience, but we believe it to be just an incredible time and encourage all students to consider it. The other thing I'll mention is that applications are live right now for the Burgess New Venture Challenge, which is MSU's premier flagship student business model competition. This year, we're going to be offering a total purse of $50,000 in prize money. And so applications are live now. If you've got an idea for a venture, you've already been working on something, if you're certainly in our discovery or launch program, I would ask you to, and strongly encourage you to consider applying. Those applications are live now. We'll eventually whittle that down to 15 student semifinalists later in the winter. So if you're thinking about it, do it now before winter break hits. It'll be a wonderful event that takes place next April at the Graduate Hotel, where we'll feature our 15 semifinalists. I think that's about it from an announcement perspective. Again, tonight, I'm just so thrilled to welcome our guest here this evening. James Madison College graduate here at Michigan State and founder at Love Stories TV. Rachel Silver comes to us from New York City. She brought her dad. So again, welcome Dad here this evening. And just so thankful that she's willing to spend a day with us to revisit campus and to connect with faculty and staff and share her story with our community here at MSU. So without further ado, if you can help me welcome my colleague Aaron Richard and Rachel Silver to the front of the stage.
I'll have you sit here. Awesome. Well, welcome.
Hi. Wait, let me fix my...
We had a little
Knocked
technical
it off.
difficulty with a
Can you hear
microphone.
me? Can't see you.
Awesome.
Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hi. Everyone doing all right?
Back to people.
You feeling jazzed about this conversation? I know I am.
It's a little low energy.
I
You guys
know.
excited?
Go green.
There we go.
Okay, one
There
more
we
time. Go green.
There we go.
All right,
All
I can
right,
I can
everyone's
deal
awake.
with that. I know.
Thank
I
you
know.
for doing that.
Thank you. All right, so let's start at the beginning. Where did you grow up, Rachel?
Huntington Woods, Michigan. Anybody from Huntington Woods know Huntington Woods? Yeah? Okay. Royal Oak-ish area.
Did you
I like it there. You should check it out.
did you grow up around creators and entrepreneurs?
Yeah, my grandfather his father started their business. I'm looking at my dad to make sure I got that right. My grandfather's dad was an entrepreneur. My cousin who helped me start Love Story CV is an entrepreneur. My mother is an entrepreneur. She had a clothing brand called Silverware while I was growing up.
What did she sell?
She made clothes. She made clothes and bags called Silverware. Is that better? So yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, I just gave you some
Beautiful.
examples.
What did the entrepreneurs in your life teach you that you find valuable to this day?
Wow. I mean, I just feel that I really grew up getting good advice from my dad and my grandfather, and like I say, my cousin and my Uncle John was an entrepreneur, and my Uncle Randy and my dad worked at the family business. So just I think in how to identify like people who are honest and hardworking and who you should surround yourself with. There was always, a lot of talk about that, relationship building, how to be, a good partner and a good friend or, business person with other people around you. I feel like there's always a lot of talk about that and a lot of good examples of that.
Do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, I think that word is like used a lot more
It's a little loaded
now, like in 2022. I almost said 2023. I don't know what year it is. In 2022, like it's very like tech startups and internet companies and entrepreneurs are like words that get used a lot. But I think like people have always started businesses. Really, that's
Right.
It's just a fancy way to say that, I guess.
It is a fancy way. It's so very French.
Yeah.
That's
Entrepreneur.
entrepreneur.
Yeah,
So thinking about you grow up in Huntington Woods, you're growing up around entrepreneurs. What drew you to Michigan State University?
Real talk.
Yeah.
Being so honest, I didn't get into U of M, which is where my dad went, and I grew up going and wanted to go. And I visited like a handful of other colleges and decided to go to MSU. I was, 18. I didn't really know. Some of my friends were coming here. I don't know. I didn't have like a strong plan or vision, to be totally honest with you.
So you didn't know? You're like, I
had
have
like
any
never
idea
been
what I'm-
here
Okay.
before orientation. And my now husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, brought me to orientation. And he was going to U of M. And so that's what happened.
That's a house divided.
Yeah,
obviously.
right. Well, I mean, if
Well,
he's happy,
forward.
I'm happy. And he's a bigger sports fan than me, I gotta say.
So describe your experience in the James Madison College. Like, when did you land yourself in James
Yeah.
Madison?
So when I decided to go to Michigan State, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I didn't know a whole lot about the university. I had grown up going to two different schools. I went to the Roper School, which is like a pretty small school, if anyone's familiar, like when I was a kid, and then I graduated from Berkeley High School. So I had done both, and I had a lot of like good feelings about like small programs, and like whoever, I don't know who told me about James Madison. Someone probably like told my mom, who told me, it was like, it's a great way to have like a smaller experience at a bigger college. And I was just like interested in history and like poli-sci, like not even from a career perspective, just like I thought it was interesting to read about and learn about. And so those two things together like appealed to me. Again, like I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, okay, what do I want to learn about all day? Like what books do I want to read? Like who would I like to listen to talk? And like those were the topics that, I thought were interesting.
What did you land for a major?
So international relations was my major at James Madison.
What did international relations teach you about, well, how did it prepare you for where you're at today?
I don't know that it did. I think that like if you have to like learn how to learn and learn how to study and learn how to write and learn how to read and learn how to talk and communicate with people who you disagree with or sometimes agree with, and like how to interact with professors, and like that's what you have to learn in school, and that could be applied to, you know, whatever you go to do, right? So I mean, I was very interested in what we were reading about and what I was learning about, which makes you want to do the work and do the research and do the reading. So I guess the lesson is just like figure out what you're interested in, because you're going to do better at that, right? Or
Fair.
try harder, or pay more attention, go to class when it's snowing, you know, like those kinds of things.
Drag yourself to
Right,
class.
exactly. I can't, thanks everyone for coming. When it started snowing,
Right?
I
This
was
is
like,
great.
yikes, it's going to be me and my dad, which would be great.
We wouldn't dare. We do a fine job of marketing here. I'm sorry, that was a...
No, you do a great, yeah. You missed it.
I'm so sorry. I'm
No.
a little. The snow has made me punch drunk at this moment. So, you know, there's always a transition, a major transition between, you know, college life and then career life. Can you talk a little bit, paint a picture of what that transition felt like for you and where that led you next?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I do talks like this or like meet younger people, I think it's just like so important to emphasize like I don't do anything related at all to what I studied. Like, what did I just say? I like wasn't sure where I wanted to go to school. I just like ended up like it all just like happened. But I tried hard and worked hard and like found things I was interested in and ways to get involved. And once I got here, you know, I like was really involved, and I was on the synchronized figure skating team when I was here. I was like in the James Madison student government. I remember doing like student mentoring with like international students. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get involved, dive in, like mix it up, like see what's going on. So anyways, so I left Michigan State. I did a master's at the American University in Paris, also doing like international affairs, poli-sci type stuff. And then like in my second year of my master's, I was like, oh wait, like I don't want to do any of this as a job. Like I don't want to run for office. I don't want to work in a nonprofit. Like, what do I do? And I moved to New York because my best friend and my now husband were living in New York, and they had already been there for like a year or two because I went to grad school. And my best girlfriend was like, you should go on this website called Media Bistro, which was like a website that existed 20 years ago or whatever. I don't know how old I am. And I just started like applying to jobs. I remember there was a job as like an assistant to a matchmaker that I really wanted to do, which is weird because of Love Story CV, but like I just like thought it sounded fun. And I ended up going to a job interview at a tech startup that was a media company, and I just walked in and thought it was like seemed so fun and everyone seemed so smart. And I got that job, and that just led me to do more similar things. Could not have possibly been less related to anything I had ever studied.
See,
at all.
I think I disagree. I'm going to push back on you because I feel like that your trajectory it was absolutely informed by international relations. Like you have a gravitas about you, you have a personability about you. So I think that, you know, James Madison, hats off.
Oh, completely. I just mean subject matter wise.
Yeah,
and I'm just saying
absolutely.
it to be like you could be at Michigan State and whatever your major is, and if you engage and do the work and try and get involved, like it doesn't matter if the job you go to do is different subject matter. Like you'll have gotten the foundations, right? It's just like written and verbal communication, like willingness to try hard, ask questions, how to interact with humans, like, which is not always that easy. And that's why you come here for 4 years so you can like figure out how to do that stuff.
become well adjusted.
Yeah, right? It's true.
So what you said that you worked for a media tech startup. What about the culture at that startup sort of excited you? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so my very first job in New York, I was the assistant to the CEO, which was the coolest, best job ever that I like recommend people really consider if you're not sure what you want to do, because I got to learn about and watch what he did all day and listen to him, both like professionally and personally. Like this was like an assistant job. Like on my first day of work, I went, I'm not making this up, like to a club to Bungalow 8, which none of you guys will know unless you watch Sex and the City, to pick up his Amex card that he left there the night before. So I got to learn all about New York and like how to get around. And also I got to listen to his calls all day and go to meetings with him and events. And so I learned so much. It was the most incredible experience. And something we were talking about earlier today is like the difference between being, I don't know if people think that sounds appealing or not, an assistant, but like that means you get to learn from the top person and see what they do all day long. which is very different than joining a company and maybe having your own more distinct role, but in a junior capacity where you might not get to interact with more senior people. Both have pros and cons, but I always recommend people who aren't quite sure what they want to do, like check out the executive assistant jobs and like see if there's any available at a company that you think sounds cool. So I liked him. He seemed so smart. He was successful. He had been early at Google. He had been at an early company Google acquired and made a ton of money that way and knew about like what was happening in tech at that time. And I was like, well, this seems like a good person to hang around all day and learn from. And I loved it there. And then I went from there to another startup, Birchbox, which I don't know if anyone in here remembers, which was a total dream job. I was the first social media hire they ever had. So again, this came up earlier, but I went in for that interview and I didn't have Instagram. So, okay, I had an Android phone, which was so exciting to me to have bought after my BlackBerry, and you couldn't get Instagram on an Android. So I went to apply for the social media job, and I didn't have Instagram. And when I got the job, I bought myself an iPhone, and I got Instagram. And that was a total dream job. Again, just like the smartest people I'd ever met. Everybody was young. The office was fun. And I considered that to be sort of my first entrepreneurial experience because I was the first person like in that role at that company, and it became quite famous for like its social media. So,
when you say it was an entrepreneurial job, what exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, I think to your point of like what's an entrepreneur, and we were talking about this a second ago, like an entrepreneur could be someone who starts a company, or you could start up something within an organization, and like both of those things are really important, and both of those things are fulfilling and great experience. So like at Birchbox, it was just a culture where if you had an idea and it was going to contribute to the business in a financially meaningful way, like you were supported to go try that. And so like, I mean, literally, you know, I remember like we were at Birchbox, like it was such early days of social media, like live streaming was like just becoming a thing you could do, and we would like do like our own little versions of like QVC shopping. Like we would just have ideas and like try them, and if they worked and they sold lipsticks, we'd keep doing them, and if they didn't, we'd stop, you know? So like I consider anytime you start up a new program or a new initiative at a company, like that's also being an entrepreneur.
How do you think teams how do you think that leaders can foster entrepreneurial thinking or mindset?
Yeah. So I think like if you're the manager or you're the more senior person, like one, I think you have to be honest. So like you will meet people who have like lots of ideas and like lots of fun ideas. And if you do not think there's any way that that idea is going to contribute in a meaningful way to the bottom line of the business, like you have to, in the right way, tell that person like why this isn't a good idea. Like work is still work, and you're still at a company that like is trying to make money in the most efficient way possible or grow as quickly as possible, right? So I think that like balancing, like there's no bad ideas, right? Every idea leads to another idea, leads to another idea, but there's not resources to do every idea. So I think it's really important to like as a leader, like be able to help people identify like what are the ideas worth trying. And if you decide it's worth trying, like how are you going to measure its success? You know, what's the effort versus impact of that idea? And I think leaders who are like too polite to give direct feedback, then people go try something and it doesn't work and it wasn't a good use of people's time. Or if you don't let people try things, then you miss out on opportunities. So like balancing that line, I think is really important.
How do you think teams inspire that kind of in the culture?
Well, you need both kinds of people, right? So it's like you can imagine you've been listening to me talk for 5 minutes. Like I talk a lot and I have a lot of ideas, and some are good and some are terrible. And so I'm going to be in a meeting and I'm going to think out loud and I'm going to like throw out ideas. And not everybody's going to do that. So you need a combination of people who are going to be like, okay, Rachel, I like that idea, and here's how I think we can make it happen. Or here's how I'm going to help you measure if it's successful. Or here's how da-da-da-da. So like you need the person tossing out the ideas, because not everybody has ideas on the fly. You need the person building the thing, measuring the thing, marketing the thing. You know, like not everybody has to think of the idea,
right?
But you need the right combination of people to like make ideas in action. And some people won't have an idea that they're going to shout out in the meeting, but they're going to email you later with the best idea you've ever heard. And like, thank God that even though they were too shy to say it in the meeting, they weren't too shy to email it. There's
something to be said about that, because some
totally.
of like there's a way to lead and be able to draw ideas out.
Yeah.
But also to open up the space so that
Totally.
people can. How do we do that? How does that look in a professional environment?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have to figure out how to be in encouraging but still give candid feedback, and that's like the balance. So how do you make yourself as a manager someone that people are comfortable coming to with ideas, but you're not you know, just a cheerleader. Like your job isn't just to say every idea is great. You know what I mean? So it's like just asking questions like, okay, well, like, how will we do it? How will we measure it? How much will it cost to try that? How long will we try it for? And like sometimes people will, you'll ask them those questions and they'll realize it might not be the idea worth trying, or you'll realize together that this is a really good thing to try, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
What? So I want to go back a little bit about the transition between college life and professional
Yeah,
life.
of course.
Who were the leaders that really inspired you, and you were like, I want to be like them?
I wanted to be like my boss at Howcast, and I wanted to be like the two women who started I started Love Stories, who started Birchbox. You know, like I thought they were really inspiring and charismatic and smart and fun. You know, I think a big thing that's come up a couple times today is like, listen, when you graduate college, like you need to go out and start making a living and being independent, but you're still really young and you don't have any responsibilities yet. And like, if you can find a job that's also fun, like that's the time to do that, because like you're not, you may be supporting other people for sure. A lot of you aren't. And a lot of you, that's the only time you're ever going to be in that position, right? So I think take advantage of that as you can. So I think it's like, totally okay to feel how I felt, which I was like, this looks like a fun place to work. You know what I mean? Because like you can do that when you're 22 or 23
Right.
for a lot of people, not for everybody, you know, and I was lucky to be in that position.
So, you know, thinking about take your favorite job. Mm-hmm. How did that job inform your own mindset, your own entrepreneurial mindset?
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea for Love Stories TV certainly came from experience I was gaining at Birchbox. So at Birchbox, my role was to build communities and to create content that helped people make purchase decisions, right? And so Birchbox, by the way, was a beauty subscription service. So you paid $10 a month and you got a box of beauty samples. It was the best, most fun thing ever. And then you could buy the full size of those products from Birchbox. So like every month you got like a beautiful surprise of makeup in the mail. I mean, half of the people in this room like get why that's like so fun, right? And it like exploded on social media because it was a fun and easy product to market. And people would open their boxes on YouTube every month. And so you want to see what everybody else got. And you want to research what you might get if you signed up for $100. So anyways, so I was thinking a lot about like how to make content quickly, inexpensively, in a way that drove impact for the business. So that's what I was thinking about all the time. So when I discovered wedding videos, it clicked for me that this content checked the boxes of what I was already doing in my job. So like totally different types of content, like totally different businesses. But, you know, the problems I was solving at work every day were in my mind all the time. So it like inspired, you know, a new business idea, which I think is really common, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, but maybe not. Oh God.
Don't drop that.
I know.
I know.
It's brand new, so
It looks good. Mine
thank
has
you.
cracks
It's the
all
purple,
over it.
so
Yeah.
I can't help myself.
Nice.
So, I mean, thinking about the entrepreneurial mindset. What do you? So, when you had your idea, did you go? I'm ready to take this risk. What told you it was time to take a risk?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be totally honest, you know, I was 30, not 22, right? So I've been
Yep.
working for 8 years or whatever. And I was married so my husband and I met when we were little kids in kindergarten. So we'd known each other a long, long time. And he's like the smartest person I know and is my best friend. And so I told him the idea and he thought it was a good idea. So to me, that was like a big deal. And his background, he's a data scientist. And before that, when we were younger, he worked in video production, actually. So when I had this idea, not only do I just think he's smart and a critical thinker and a good business person, but also like had some experience in video production. So telling him and having him think it was a good idea, like just made me believe in it even more. So I think it's like step one is like, who is that person for you? You know, and it's like a fine line. It's like I didn't tell anybody else because I was so excited about it. I didn't want to tell other people in case they weren't, because I knew what that might do to the idea, but I had to get feedback, right? So I think it's like identifying like who is that person or people for you who like you really trust them, but like they're not gonna dump on it either. You know what I mean? You have to like find that balance. But he would have told me if he thought it was a bad like or not my best idea, you know. And I also think that's, to your question earlier, like something I'm looking at my dad and realizing that we used to do this when we were at dinner, like joke about business ideas, right? Like I feel like that's a thing we always did in our house, which to your point of like being around entrepreneurs and like an entrepreneurial thing. My brother-in-law, we joke in my family that my best friend thought of Dry Bar and that my brother-in-law like shot it down, which is like a side story. So I could be here being the founder of a very different business. But anyways, so I think one, like, you know, him thinking it was a good idea and him being excited was like a big deal, but it was like very scary to do that when you're talking about like risk. Like I was at Birchbox at the time, which was like this very hot, very popular startup. It's like I could email anyone in beauty or fashion or social media with my Birchbox email and everybody would answer my email. And I was like getting invited to speak at all these conferences. So I would think about that all the time. Like one, like that's a hard thing to leave, you know, and like a hard thing to give up. Financially, obviously, like I was able to do this because I was married to someone who had a job and we had an apartment, and like that's a real thing that like people should be honest about when you ask them about starting a business. Like, how did you afford to do that? Because that's like not everybody, you know, you might not be in that position. So I think those, you know, the literal support from my husband and like the you know, ideation support like were huge.
I think the best ideas come from very tiny seeds.
Yeah.
So what was the tiny seed that grew into a tree?
Yeah. So this is not a story of like I was planning my wedding and I found it challenging. I thought there was a better way. I had little to nothing to do with my own wedding. Like showed up, hadn't been to the venue till the day before the wedding. My mother and grandmother planned the whole wedding. It was so amazing and fun and best wedding I've ever been to. Which I can say because I didn't throw it. And but I did not have a wedding videographer. So two things happened. One, my family did this like crazy, amazing flash mob at my wedding. So this was 2013. So this was like cool at that time, by the way. And like I was totally like, I mean, 200 people dancing in unison, like in front of me, like totally shocked. So that I was like, I can't believe this isn't being videoed. So that was sort of like in my head, like, man, like that was a screw up. But the second thing, so that was sort of like in my head as like a seed. And then I was on social media because of my job, and I started to see people's wedding videos come through my Facebook feed because it was like Facebook at that time. And video on Facebook was still like new. Like it was early days of video. I remember the first time I told the girl who ran our video production that I was going to upload a video to Facebook instead of putting the YouTube link on Facebook, and she almost started to cry for fear of like missing out on the YouTube views. Like this was like early. So I started seeing these wedding videos. When I say wedding videos, you guys know what I'm talking about. They're like 4 to 6 minutes. They look like feature film trailers. They're like shot by videographers at weddings. They're to music. They make people look like movie stars, right? So I was seeing these come through my Facebook feed, and I was like, this is the best content I've ever seen. Like, this is super high production value. It tells a story. The music is great. Everybody's so happy. The speeches are amazing. It's like just short enough, but like just long enough. And I was like, I wonder what happens with these videos. And, you know, I can go into like the rest of the business idea later. But right, so the seed was like, I did just get married and I regretted not having a video. And then that combined with like what I knew it cost to make great content and what content I knew people wanted to watch and what would help them make purchase decisions, like combined into like starting the idea.
So what how did that progress? So what were the next steps?
So we haven't really done the intro and like we're building up to it, I know, but Love Stories TV is a media company. And so we are your destination for heartwarming stories and real love and wedding inspiration. And we have the biggest YouTube and TikTok in the wedding industry. We have a streaming TV channel. We have a website with 26,000 videos and 55,000 businesses listed. We license content. We distribute content. We produce original shows. We're a media company. We make money as a media company. So to how the idea got there. So I started seeing these videos, and at that time, wedding videographers were putting the video, a bride or groom or couple hires them to make a video for their wedding, and they were putting them all on Vimeo. They would send it to the couple, the Vimeo link, and then like no one would ever see it again, right? And like maybe you would see it on Facebook, like your friends, post it on Facebook or whatever. And I was like, this is really crazy. Like I think people would like to watch strangers' wedding videos. Which I see someone nodding. Like this is now it's like not that weird. It's a thing. Like I think Love Stories TV started it, but also like you see on TikTok and YouTube all the time, even if it's not from Love Stories TV, like clips from people's weddings. Like this is normal to you, but at the time people are like, watch strangers' wedding videos. Like what? And then I was like, this could also really help you plan your wedding. Like if you were trying to find a venue or researching a venue someone had told you about, or you wanted to see the work of not just a videographer, but the work of a planner or the work of a florist. Like these videos, like what we were producing at Birchbox, were entertaining, but helped you research products and services. So that was sort of the nugget of the idea. So we started with a website where wedding videographers would upload the videos and tag all the data and details about the wedding, like all the vendors who worked on the wedding and the couple's story and whatnot. And that populated into a marketplace. So like House or Airbnb or any other marketplace where you can research products and services and contact them. And then it grew because the content did so well on distribution platforms.
What do you think is the reason why it did so well? So I mean, obviously it's an amazing product, but what do you think hooks us to it?
Well, I think one is like timing is everything. So I had been working in video twice. I had worked at a video startup and then was doing video at Birchbox. So I had like an insight that that's where things were going, which to you guys is like, duh, like you're probably on TikTok right now. But like when I was you couldn't put videos on Instagram at that time. Like,
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? So like, imagine that you are the person at this company, like noticing that video is like growing, right? So that's like thing one, as I was and I knew how much it cost to make. So I think to me, it was just like, there's this huge ocean of content. So like from a business perspective, it was like access to a product that I didn't have to produce. That was like a cost effective thing. And then the insight into just like, why would people want to watch these? Is it just like, I don't know. I was a 30-year-old woman, and I knew people would want to watch them. And I started asking the younger women or the women my age at Birchbox, like, do you guys watch other people's wedding videos? And everyone's like, yeah. Like, we used to watch them at the sorority house, or like my roommate and I watch them all the time. And enough people were like, yeah, of course I watch them. And I'd be like, how do you find them? And people would be like, I don't know. Like, sometimes I just like see one on Facebook, and then I like da-da-da-da-da, So making that behavior easier, I think, was like a behavior people are already doing, just
Right.
making it easier.
So how do you launch? Like, how do you go from idea to discovery and then launch?
So I think a big thing is figuring out like, so the biggest ideas, or the ideas that we think of as the most successful, are the ones that the most people can use the most time. So Airbnb is great because we can all use it like many times a year, right? So it's solving a problem for like a lot of people, but also great businesses are solving problems for like a niche community of people who really need that problem solved and are going to like be your champions and your early adopters, right? So it's like identifying in your idea, like who are those people? So the way we launched, we just went to wedding videographers and we were like, we're building a website just for wedding videographers, which at that time, imagine there's still print magazines. So like there was still Brides magazine being printed and the Not being printed and Martha Stewart Weddings being printed. So wedding videographers felt that they were being like totally left out of the equation because all of the big media publications cared more about photo. So just the fact that we were going to them and be like, we're going to build something all around you, they didn't even care that we didn't have an audience yet. You know what I mean? So it was sort of like identifying like who were the group of people for whom this most solved a problem and knowing that they would like probably rally around it.
What do you think were your largest tech challenges?
Well, okay, so we launched the website. My husband, as I mentioned, is a data scientist, so he's not a front end like web developer, but he knows enough to be like a little dangerous. And like, between him and like the out of the box tools to make a website or a marketplace or Shopify, I mean, it's like unbelievable. You can launch any business overnight. We were using WordPress. So there were WordPress templates, and the only WordPress templates for video websites were like a certain kind of video website. that I'm not going to say like on the university like live stream. Okay, there weren't a lot of websites completely dedicated to video, and so
Distasteful.
yeah, like R-rated, and so we were like looking through the templates, and I was like, yeah, this is like what's out there. So that was like a very funny challenge to try to figure out like how to turn those into like a website for wedding videos, but yeah, so we had to spend. I mean, this came up earlier. It's like we had to spend $10,000 of our own money to build the website, because if we were going to ask wedding videographers to upload videos of their clients, it had to at least look good enough for them to like trust us and trust that we weren't going to like chop up those videos and make fun of their couples, or like, you know, turn them into something silly, or like, you know, lose their files or publish their files everywhere. So like the website had to sort of like look and feel a certain level of decent. It had to work, you know, in order for people to come and like, at that time, I guess they didn't upload the video. They would give us the Vimeo link and we would like publish it for them, but it had to like work good enough, you know? So I think that's always, when you're starting a business, it's like, is this a tech business or is it tech enabled? Like if you're charging someone $300 for shoes, like the website has to look and feel like good and trustworthy. If you're charging them like $5 for like, you know, a cool phone case, like the website can be not as good, you know? So it's like thinking about that too.
What do you think were your largest tech hurdle? Because I'm so interested, because you described Love Stories TV as a media company, but it sounds like you're also a tech company.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely, most of the proprietary tech tools we've built are internal. So actually our CTO has built this like incredible tool where everyone at the company, we have like a lot of amazing interns. I always think, by the way, if anyone's looking for an internship, like Rachel at lovestoriestv.com, you get to watch wedding videos all day. It's very fun. So we've built this cool tool where you can watch wedding videos, and while you're watching it, like identify the things in the video. So we've tested with a lot of like the machine learning tools to see if they could say like when the first look happens and when the vows happen and when the cake happens, and like they do okay, but like you need a human to be like, this is a really good groom reaction, that guy's crying a lot, that's going to go viral on YouTube. Like you need a person to do it. So that's the stuff we've built, are like more internal tools for the team to like tag and identify content that would be good for social or could be good for a TV show. But most of the stuff we were able to do pretty out of the box at first, you know. Something that came up earlier at the lunch we had was like, I wish we had invested more earlier in like SEO, in search engine optimization, which is, you know, depends on your business. But like, I think like taking a second up front to have some conversations with people who might have more foresight than you, to be like, where's this going to be in 5 years? Like, where do you need to invest in the tech today to get this started? And what could you wait on? You know, which is like not blanket advice I could give, but like find someone smart who knows who you could talk to about that is really the answer to like 99% of the questions, I think.
So I'm going to ask a personal question.
Yeah, sure.
So what do you think makes a really great wedding story or wedding video?
Okay, well, the videos that get 50 million views on YouTube involve a crying man, 99.9% of the time, or a child that makes a man cry, or a child that tries to give a speech and ends up crying. That is like internet gold. I think our most viral wedding video ever is a colorblind groom whose bride gave him these like N-chroma glasses, and he sees color for the first time like on his wedding day. I think it has like 50 million views on YouTube. Those are the videos that go the most viral. The ones I like the best are the ones where some of the couples just like, you could tell they're just so happy. Like they're not stressed. They're like having so much fun. Like their vows and toasts are cute. Like the ones where the couples seem to be having a blast are my favorites. The ones that go viral are like if someone like survives like an illness or injury, or like someone's crying.
There's drama.
Yes, a little bit of drama, yeah. Drama with a happy ending.
So, because I was just going to ask, you know, what do viewers react to most?
Yeah,
and so
that's
thankfully, so I recently read that Love Stories TV is getting loads of attention. In fact, moreover, what I mean is your website at the time that I read this fact had 230 million monthly views by 9 million individuals. That's
not
incredible.
our website, but our total.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
your
no,
total,
that's
yes.
okay. I mean, I want to be honest, but no, but our total video footprint. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat Discover. We have a big Snapchat Discover program. Our streaming TV channel. It's so good. You guys should watch it. You can watch the Love Story TV channel on Sling free. So go home to your TVs, add the Sling app, and in the cable, I always say cable. I don't know if you guys like remember cable in the channel lineup. So there's like on demand, right? Like HBO, Netflix. You like watch the thing and choose it. But then there's like the channel lineup where you got to watch what's on. Okay. We have a Love Story TV channel in there. The easiest way to watch it is on Sling, and it's free, and it's 24/7 wedding videos, and it's so fun, and it's so good.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. That's so. We're at the 15-minute mark before this ends, but I think I want to open up to a few questions. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask Rachel?
In the back.
Please do.
Thank you, sir. Rachel, I had a quick question because you were talking about both earlier today and tonight. You acknowledged, which I admire, some of the barriers that might exist for a lot of aspiring founders.
Yeah.
That you were grateful to be able to kind of eliminate or work around.
Yeah.
Have you thought about because I know you're already thinking maybe about the next venture, right?
Yeah.
And I just know that you'll probably be. This is not the first one and the only one. Have you thought about how other entrepreneurs or as a society we might be able to eliminate some of those barriers to make it easier for other aspiring entrepreneurs to take on that risk and make the deep dive?
Yeah. So the number one thing that opened doors for me was all three actually of the founders at Birchbox invested in my business. So when I went to them and I was like, I'm going to leave and go do this thing, and they were like incredibly supportive, and they invested in it. So then being able to ask them to make more introductions for me and to be able to tell anyone I reached out to that they had invested, not just because Birchbox was like a hot startup at that time, but because it made me look good that people who had been my bosses like wanted to invest in my business. So I think that like we did talk about this earlier. It's like I live in New York. Like I was at two companies where like most people went to like East Coast schools. They were from like a totally different, like anytime I would say Michigan State, like people were confused about which school in Michigan that was. Like I'm just being honest, like that's what it's like a lot of times in New York. So I didn't have the same networks by any means that like a lot of the kids did that had gone to school out there or whose families like lived out there. But Birchbox like opened a lot of doors for me. So I would say if you feel that you don't have some of those networks that, you know, make things easier for you, like in startups or in tech or in New York or San Francisco, like get a job at one of those places and spend a little bit of time there and build those relationships. So what's, you know, a startup that you're interested and excited in, or startup's like a confusing word, like any, you know, company that has, was founded by entrepreneurs, or people often leave to go start their own businesses. Like there's lots of sort of like companies like that. So I think that it's like insert yourself into one of those networks, which you are going to school at Michigan State, which means you can go out and get a great job and spend a couple years at a place like that, and you'll start to, you know, get those networks, I think. Yeah.
In your opinion, is there ever a time where you're too invested into one venture to start another one?
Yeah. I mean, I think I meet people all the time who have like lots of different businesses, and like that's a totally doable thing. You know, it's like people who have like many like Shopify or Etsy stores, and then one of them explodes and it becomes a bigger business, or like things like that, which I actually think is a great way to like test different ideas and like see what you're most excited about. I think if you're going to raise money for something, people want you to be totally singularly focused on that thing, or, you know, so I think it's like that's sort of the difference. It's like if you're gonna raise money from people, you have to be completely dedicated to the goal of making them a return on their investment. It has to be your North Star all day, every day. But if you want to maintain more autonomy and flexibility and control, then you can totally start more than one thing at one time. And like, then you're sort of like the master of your own universe doing that. So I think those are sort of the two different ways to think about it.
Hi there. I'm the marketing and communication. Okay. Marketing and communications manager for James Madison. So of course I'm going to ask you a question about your time at Madison. Your undergrad degree was in international relations. Can you talk a little bit about how your initial career aspirations have informed the work that you're doing now?
I don't know that I had any initial career. I'm just being totally honest because I don't know if people like say that enough. You know, like I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just took classes that sounded interesting to me. I remember being a freshman and like wiggling my way into like a senior history class. It was like something like some obscure European like history class, and I had to like beg my way in because it just like sounded interesting to me, and I liked the books. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't. That was I don't know. Like that's sort of what was like guiding me. I remember like coming back from study abroad and trying really hard to get into an art history class, and they were like, "Yeah, join the list of every kid that goes on study abroad to Europe and wants to do art history." Like, but that's like what I was doing. It's just like I don't know, trying to take classes that seemed interesting. With like no vision of what I might do as a job. Yeah, totally. And it worked out good for me. So don't be stressed about it, I think, right? You're here. Like if you're in this room, like you're doing something right. You're obviously like care about your future and are trying and exploring things. And like I imagine all ahead of the curve that you showed up here on a snowy night. So
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean that truly.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
Great talk, by the way. It's been good so far.
Thanks.
What are some major challenges or obstacles that you faced while starting up Love Story?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this a little bit earlier today. Like fundraising is a really, really hard thing to do. And the company is where it is today because we did the fundraise, both because of the cash, but even more so the investors that I brought on from doing the fundraise introduced me to people and opportunities that were transformative for the business. So I'm obviously glad I did it, but it was really hard and really like defeating and like could be really stressful and lonely. Like you're mostly just meeting with people all day who are saying no to you or like never getting back to you, which is actually the worst part. When you like have a meeting with someone, they seem really excited and then they like completely ghost you, which is a thing that happens all the time. So you just have to like, so it's really hard unless, you know, I think the ways to like combat that are like the more time you spend on your company before you fundraise, the more success metrics you have, the easier a fundraise might be. But sometimes you can't do that without the cash. So like whatever. But I would say fundraising is like the hardest thing I've ever done. And I think a lot of people feel that way and should say it if they do. I don't know.
Honesty is policy.
Yeah, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions? Oh, right on. Well, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah,
Still,
great.
I'm just.
Is that you or me?
Thank you. Yeah, no, we're good. Thank you. So many technical difficulties. It's the snow. I know it. So, if you think back to first year, second year, what is the advice you would give to Rachel Silver then?
It's starting love stories.
What would you say to Rachel Silver the first year or second year of here at college?
Oh, of college. Okay. Man. Well, I think that the biggest thing, and this came up earlier, is investing in your relationships with like like, okay, everyone in this room is here because you might want to start a company or like want to work in an entrepreneurial business or like something about this was interesting to you. So you've already self-selected yourself into a group of people who like kind of care, right? So like you're all approximately the same age. So you're going to enter the workforce at like approximately the same time and like grow in companies at approximately the same level. And like all I did when I started Love Stories TV was ask people, friends, real friends that I either knew from growing up or met through work in New York, for favors. Can you introduce me to this person? Can you get me an invite to this party? Can you get me a free ticket to that conference? Can you teach me how to do this thing? Can you help me set up my Google Ad Manager? Like, so the more people that you have like real, trusting, deep, reciprocal relationships with, the better. And so like the people you meet in school, the people you meet when you're an intern, the people you meet when you're first year at your company, those are the people that are going to be VPs when you're a VP. And those are the people that are going to be president when you're a president, and like founding a company when you're founding a company. So like I think investing in those relationships is really smart and will really pay off. So I think my advice to myself at that time would have been to like get out of my bubble a little bit and like try to meet some kids in the business school, like try to meet some kids in the computer science program. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe do more internships. I think internships are like the number one most valuable thing you could do in college. Like do an internship every semester, do an internship in the summer, go to the office, go to the office, go to the office, go to the office. Don't do it on Zoom if you can avoid it. You will make friends and make more of an impression on the people at the company and learn how to interact with people in person at the office.
Important.
Yeah. So I just went from advice to myself to advice to you guys. Sorry, but
Well, I mean,
I'm saying what moves me now.
it's so important. I mean, relationships are what honestly make this world go
Everything.
round.
It's everything in every job you have. You're just it's every job is just, it's not about the work. It's convincing people. Convincing is a bad word. Figuring out how to work with people is 99.9% of the gig all the time.
And my last question
Yeah.
is, what are 3 books or podcasts or some sort of medium
Okay.
that you would recommend? Don't pass go, don't collect $200.
Okay.
Get this now.
The Hard Thing About Hard Things by what's his name? Horowitz?
Yes.
Somebody? Anybody? The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And I actually listened to it as an audiobook. So I just told you that I thought fundraising was like hard and stressful, and I raised $3 million and he's raising like hundreds of millions of dollars. And the way he explains like the physical illness he felt because of stress like really resonated with me and made me feel better, that like other people like were feeling how I was feeling. That's a really, really good book. The Hard Thing About Hard Things. I think Okay. I'm listening to an audiobook right now. Being so honest, by Dr. Becky called Good Inside, because I have a 3-year-old and somebody told me this was a really good parenting book. And all I'm thinking the whole time I'm listening to the book is like, this is so much more applicable to work than to my 3-year-old. It's all about just like understanding like what motivates people and why they're doing what they're doing. And when their behavior's bad, it's not because they're bad, it's because like something else is going on with them. And that's all that work is about. Like, why is this person being difficult? Like, it probably has nothing to do with work. They're probably like having a bad day at home. So I think everyone should like read the Dr. Becky book, which sounds insane because like you don't have kids yet, but I'm just being honest. And my favorite podcast that I listen to, which has nothing to do with business, is Pop Culture Happy Hour.
Ooh.
Because it kind of like keeps you up to date on all the TV shows and movies, so you always have something to talk about with people, which is like so important, just being able to like make small chat.
Yes.
Which is what they tell you at Sorority Rush, and it's totally true. It's completely true. Like Alpha Phi prepared me for the workforce.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you got to be able to like chat to people and like look them in the eye and like be genuine. And so I think having like little nuggets of pop culture like makes that easier.
I agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Rachel, before we go, does anybody have any questions they want to ask of Rachel?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
So find me on LinkedIn if you know, if you have any more questions you didn't think of, like we were saying, like now everyone feels comfortable raising their hand. Like if I can be helpful in any way, like it's really cool that you guys came and that you're thinking about this stuff. And check out Love Stories TV, follow it on all the socials, watch the TV channel. And we are hiring interns all the time. So
That's
would like
awesome.
be so cool to hear from someone from Michigan State.
You heard it here. Go ahead, get it ready. Thank you so much, Rachel.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you so
Thanks for
much.
having
Thank
me.
you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Are you willing to stick around for a little bit if they have?
I can't. So my flight. I just have to back.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
I'm still
No.
microphone, which is
I am too.
Hello. My flight is at 9:45.
And it's open to anyone to attend. And I'm looking for the text that Lori gave me. It is November 29th here in the pavilion, so don't miss that. No one's listening. It's all good.